I didn't say a word when the HOA president screamed about trespassing. I just slid the folded county reclamation order across the polished oak table and watched their lawyer's hands tremble as he read the header. The entire board leaned forward, faces twisted with confusion until the color drained from their attorney's cheeks. That was the moment I knew I had them. Years of their threats, fines, and smug little letters had led to this. And I didn't need to raise my voice. I just needed the truth printed on government letterhead, but before all that, my life wasn't supposed to be a battle. I moved out here because I was tired of the city and all its noise. I inherited a modest place from my uncle, a simple, single-story house with a broad porch that faced west toward the ridgeline. It wasn't fancy. The siding needed work, the roof groaned every time it rained, but it was mine. The backyard stretched into a gentle slope where deer wandered at dusk, and you could hear the crickets start their chorus just as the sun dipped behind the trees. I wanted quiet, a space where weekends were for mowing the lawn at my own pace, fixing up the old shed, maybe planting tomatoes in raised beds. I wasn't looking for confrontation. I wasn't looking to control anyone else's choices. I just wanted peace. That illusion didn't last long. My first real run-in with the HOA came wrapped in yellow tape, quite literally. I came home one Tuesday evening to find a notice slapped across my garage door. It accused me of being in violation for unauthorized exterior modifications. My crime? I had been on the roof replacing a few shingles after a windstorm, something any normal homeowner would do. But according to them, I hadn't filed the proper forms, paid the review fee, or gotten their sacred architectural approval. The absurd part was that my house wasn't even within their jurisdiction. Their own map printed in their bylaws showed my property line ending just outside their managed lots. I thought it was a mistake at first, some clerical mix-up, but when I called the number at the bottom of the notice, the woman on the other end told me flatly that all homes in the subdivision must comply. I tried to reason with them. I sent polite emails pointing out the boundaries clearly marked in their own governing documents. I attached the deed to my property, which predates their HOA by decades. I even offered to meet in person, thinking maybe this was just a misunderstanding that could be resolved with a cup of coffee and a conversation. Instead, I got silence. Then more letters. Then fines, $50 here, $100 there for non-compliance. When I didn't pay, the numbers grew. And when I finally did get a response, it was mockery. A curt note saying, "Ignorance of the rules is not an excuse." That was the moment something shifted in me. I wasn't angry. Anger would have been a waste of energy. I just went quiet inside like a switch flipped. That's when I stopped sending emails and started reading property law. It began with the deed. Late nights spent under a dim desk lamp, flipping through photocopies of surveys and plats filed in dusty county record books. My uncle had bought the land outright in the 1970s, long before the subdivision sprouted up around it. And tucked away in the margin of one of those documents was a line that most people would have skimmed past. Reserved for federal reclamation. It caught my eye. I followed that thread, pulling every infrastructure record, every county resolution, every annexation map from the archives. What I discovered was that my property sat on a parcel with a unique legal designation. It had once been earmarked for possible use by the Army Corps of Engineers, meaning certain jurisdictional boundaries were never ceded to the HOA when the neighborhood was carved out. I documented everything. I photographed every notice they taped to my door, every fine they mailed, every petty little act of intimidation. Neighbors grew distant, either afraid of the board or complicit in its nonsense. My partner grew tired of the stress. The mailbox became a source of dread. But at night, after they went to bed, I stayed up tracing legal lines across old maps, highlighter in hand, coffee going cold at my elbow. The more I read, the more certain I became the HOA had no power over me. And worse for them, their attempts to enforce fines against me put them in violation of state law regarding fraudulent liens and harassment. They thought they were boxing me in. They didn't realize I was building a case. So when the day came, I was ready. They had summoned me, if you can call it that, to a board meeting, wagging threats about escalating my non-compliance to collections. I walked in with a single folder. No lawyer, no bluster, just quiet certainty. The president sneered before I even sat down, accusing me of ongoing trespass against HOA standards. That was when I placed the county reclamation order on the table. The lawyer snatched it up, scanning the pages, and within seconds his face fell. He mumbled something about jurisdictional exemption and non-applicability of enforcement. The room went still. For once, they had nothing to say. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. Their own attorney had just confirmed what I'd known for months. They had no authority over my land. The fallout was as quiet as it was satisfying. The fines disappeared. The threatening letters stopped. Word spread through the neighborhood that the board had overreached, and suddenly people who once avoided me started whispering their own grievances. 2 board members resigned within the year. The president clung on for a while, but her bark had lost its bite. Without the illusion of authority, the HOA's power shrank to what it had always legally been, nothing over me. Now, when I drive down the street, some neighbors wave, others turn away. Either way, it's quiet. My porch is still mine. My evenings belong to the crickets again. And every time I walk past the file cabinet where that reclamation order rests, I smile at the reminder the law is boring until it isn't.